Every single year, Hourglass drops new holiday palettes, and every single year, we have the same question. Are these just the same old shades in the new fancy packaging? Do we really need to spend the money? And is Hourglass even keeping up with their own tradition of recycling and reusing the shades? Well, I'm here to answer that for you. Hi, my name is Salima, and in today's video, I'm going to swatch, compare, and break down both the new Fox and Swan palettes. I will even compare their shades side by side with some of the permanent Hourglass powders in my collection. Now, I love Hourglass ambient lighting powders. I have a decent collection of them, but I'm definitely not a collector. I got these two palettes this year because they promised some new and exciting shades that seemed worth a shot. So, let's see if they delivered. Let's start with the Swan palette. The artwork this year is a collaboration with Ukrainian tattoo artist Sasha Unisex, and I have to say, I'm really drawn to it. I like it because the way the colors blend together gives it an almost watercolor painting effect. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. This palette is geared towards light to medium skin tones, and it comes with one finishing powder, one bronzer, one highlighter, and three blushes. The finishing powder is their popular shade Dim Light, which is a neutral leaning finishing powder. I actually have this in my custom palette from Hourglass. I use it as a very last step in my makeup routine, and it makes my skin look so smooth and radiant. It's a great choice for this palette because it's a very versatile, neutral beige color. If you have a fair to light medium complexion, it will add a subtle warmth and a soft focus effect. And if you have a medium to tan complexion like I do, you can use it as a subtle all over powder or a brightening powder under the eyes. I'm honestly not sure if it will work for you if you have a much deeper complexion though. The bronzer in this palette is another permanent shade in the color Natural Bronze. It's a matte bronzer and you can buy it individually, which is awesome. Now, for those of you who have been collecting these palettes, you might recognize this one. It was also in the 2020 Sculpture palette, so if you already own that, you are not getting a new shade here. For my medium tan skin, it's a very neutral leaning bronzer, so it doesn't add a ton of warmth. Instead, it just gives me a soft, natural dimension, which is great for every day. And speaking of comparisons, I will add a clip here of this bronzer next to some others in my collection. I think this shade is very close to the Farah Hamidi bronzer in the shade Lumen, as they both have a neutral undertone. If you're looking for an alternative in terms of the formula, my RMS bronzer is great. But the shade Tan Lines has a prominent golden undertone, so it creates a different look. The finishing powder and the bronzer are the two existing shades in this palette. The remaining four powders are all new shades. So let's talk about the new highlighter shade in Golden Hour. This is their strobe lighting powder formula, and this is one of the reasons why I'm always hesitant to buy these holiday palettes. The strobe lighting powders have always felt very sparkly to me, almost with a visible metallic shimmer that just doesn't suit my personal style. I prefer a more subtle, lit from within glow, and these can be a little too glittery on my skin. Now, Golden Hour is beautiful in the pan. It's a very pretty champagne gold, and it definitely gives you a beaming, impactful highlight. As you can see, the metallic finish is definitely there. If you love a super bright, a little bit glittery highlighter, you are going to love this. Now let's talk about the three new blushes. Can you guys tell which one I was most intimidated by? It's the blush in the shade Mauve Fusion. In the pan, it's a plum berry color with a little bit of a marbled effect. I was honestly so surprised by how much I'm liking this shade because it's a cool tone blush, which is a nice change from all the warm pinks and corals we have been seeing. I was worried that it would look like a purple bruise on my skin, but it doesn't. It just gives me this beautiful, sophisticated flush. It's a bit more unique and moody than my typical blush choices, and I think it will look perfect for the colder months. I have to admit, this turned out to be a total unexpected favorite. Moving on to the next new blush in the Swan palette, we have Sunset Flush. This one is described as a dusty peach with a golden pearl. For a peachy blush, it doesn't look too bright or too orange on my medium tan complexion. In fact, it's not even that warm leaning. When I apply it, it adds a subtle, beautiful color to my cheeks. It has that signature hourglass glow with some very fine golden sparkle that you can see. It's not a bold blush, but it's not a boring nude either. It sits perfectly in the middle, giving me just enough color and a natural radiance. It's the kind of shade that you can just throw on for a quick, effortless look. And the last blush in this palette is the new shade Luminous Coral. This is undoubtedly the most luminous and glowy blush out of the three that you get in this palette. It is very glowy, but it doesn't have any glitter. Because this shade is a warm coral and it has that luminous finish, this combination instantly wakes up your complexion. It almost warms up my skin tone and adds so much vibrance and liveliness. I don't even need a separate highlighter with this one. It reminds me of spring and summer. But honestly, I have no problem wearing this shade during fall and winter. You know what they say, makeup has no rules. Overall, I'm very satisfied with this palette. I can use every single one of these shades with the exception of the strobe highlighter, which you guys know is not my personal vibe. The fact that you get three brand new, very usable blushes in one palette is a huge win. The mix of permanent shades and new shades make this a very well-rounded palette, especially if you are not a die-hard collector who already owns everything. This is a palette that I can use on an everyday basis for a simple, effortless look, but I can also use this to amp up my look for a full glam, dramatic party night out. Before we dive into the Fox palette, if you're enjoying this video, please go ahead and give this a big thumbs up. And if you're looking for honest, straight to the point reviews, in depth comparisons, and all that good stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload from me. Now let's talk about the Fox palette. Just like the Swan palette, the Fox palette has a beautiful and really vibrant piece of art. It feels so much more energetic and bold, and it's a good match for the rich, warm shades inside. Just like the Swan palette, the Fox palette also features one finishing powder, one bronzer, one highlighter, and three blushes. 5 out of 6 shades in this palette are all new. The only repeated shade is the blush in Lucid Glow. Let's start with the finishing powder in the shade Desert Light, which is described as a warm topaz. My first thought when I looked at it in the pan was, this looks too warm to be a finishing powder. Is it just a light bronzer? And here's what I found. This powder is so sheer, it doesn't add a lot of heavy color. So with my summer tan, this looks like a perfect all-over finishing powder. But when my tan fades, I probably wouldn't use it on my entire face. Instead, this will be a perfect, subtle, glowy bronzer. It will be the kind of product that I just sweep on my cheekbones and forehead to add a hint of warmth and a luminous glow. For comparison, Dim Light is the finishing powder that works for me all year round. If you choose to buy the Horse palette, which is a Sephora exclusive, I believe, then you will get the finishing powder in the shade Soft Light. I use that pale peach shade under my eyes and on the center of my face to add some brightness. Now let's talk about the highlighter in the Fox palette. This is another new shade called Solar Glow, which is a golden bronze. This is significantly deep, rich gold highlighter with a warm bronze undertone. The highlighter in the Swan palette is a pale champagne gold. Both of these highlighters are meant to provide a high impact, metallic finish on the skin. I can even wear Solar Glow as a shimmering bronzer, which is great. Moving on to the bronzer, which is another new shade called Bronze Fusion. This bronzer is a warm, deep, matte bronze, but it's not a neutral leaning shade like the natural bronze in the Swan palette. Instead, it has a subtle reddish undertone to it. It mimics a natural sun-kissed look, the kind of flush you get from actually being out in the sun. So if you're someone who gets a little bit of a reddish tan naturally, this is going to look amazing on you. Now let's talk about the blushes, which are always my favorite part of these palettes. Starting with the new blush from the Fox palette, we have Amethyst Haze, a rich berry. This is a deep, saturated berry blush on my skin. And compared to the Mauve Fusion in the Swan palette, Amethyst Haze is much deeper and more saturated. Mauve Fusion definitely has more pink in it and leans a little cooler. Just to give you a full picture, I will also swatch some of the permanent blushes in my collection. First, we have the Luminous Flush, which is a soft, sheer rosy pink. You can see how much more subtle that is. And I will also swatch Sublime Flush, which is a soft pink with a gorgeous lilac undertone. I love all of these blushes. And by the way, for all of you who want to know exactly which palettes Hourglass have featured these powders in before, I will put some of the info cards for you as we go. The next blush shade is Lucid Glow, which is the only returning shade in this palette. This blush was a part of a special limited edition palette that Hourglass released. It was a very exclusive product, and you could only buy it at the Hourglass flagship store in New York City or at the Selfridges in the UK. It's described as a warm coral blush, so it's a beautiful mix of peachy orange with a little bit of pink in it. It feels a very spring and summer appropriate shade. I will swatch it next to the Sunset Flush from the Swan palette so you can see the difference. You can tell that the Sunset Flush is a more muted, dusty peach that gives you a soft, effortless look, while Lucid Glow adds a brighter, more vibrant pop of color. And my absolute favorite blush from this palette is called Canyon Heat. It is an earthy terracotta color, almost like a burnt orange, that adds so much warmth to the face. It is also pigmented, so I use a light hand to get that warm, sun drenched flush. I make sure to apply it with a fluffy brush, sweeping it lightly across the tops of my cheekbones and even a little bit over the bridge of my nose, right where the sun would naturally hit. It really just makes my skin look alive. Overall, the biggest difference between the Swan palette and the Fox palette is the color story. The Fox palette is a warm toned lover's dream. Every single shade, from the bronzer to the highlighter, and all three of the blushes, is designed to give you a cohesive, warm look. There are no cool tones in this palette, and it is best suited for medium to deeper skin tones. The Swan palette, on the other hand, is a mix of warm and cool. You get that cool tone blushes, but you also get the warm blush. And then you have that neutral leaning finishing powder and bronzer. This palette is best suited for light to medium skin tones. So if you're someone who loves a warm, all over bronze look and has a medium to deeper skin tone, the Fox palette is going to be your go to. But if you like to play with both warm and cool shades and you want some variety in one place, the Swan palette is a better choice. I have to say, I'm really happy with the new shades and the variety we are getting. After seeing so many of the same returning shades over the years, it's nice to see that Hourglass is listening to us and giving us something fresh. Of course, the artwork is still absolutely beautiful, but the price has gone up this year. So while these ambient lighting powders are truly beautiful, and you likely will not regret buying one, you should definitely pick up the color story that best suits your makeup style and your skin tone to make it a worthwhile purchase. I truly hope this video was helpful. Let me know what you guys think about the new holiday palettes from Hourglass. Are you interested in buying them? Which palette is on your wish list? As always, I hope you all stay happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye for now.